Welcome back to another episode of Double Ranging Rook. As I mentioned, it can be very exciting early on in the game, and I listed some of the most frequent situations. By learning these techniques, it will be much easier for you to understand the natures so you can find the weaknesses or avoid creating them. First up, you need to know which side is more stable. Obviously, that's white's camp because black's bishop is loose and it's not working well. And it's white's turn, so white can punish this poor position by starting with this pawn push. He takes it and this pawn push. Also, he takes it, then white can recapture. What white is going to do is to offer rook exchange like this. And once this exchange happens, it's gonna be good for white because, like I said, this bishop is loose and it can be targeted easily. But if black tries to avoid the exchange, he's gonna create a bigger problem because, for example, this can be possible, but then white can push this pawn to remove this silver from this square. Obviously, black cannot keep going like this because this move is threatening this rook, so white is going to be better, but even if he takes it, it's going to be still good for white. He has to move back, then he can keep going. This time he cannot avoid this, otherwise white will be able to promote this rook, and still this bishop isn't working, so it's a winning position for white. Alright, next one. It looks more difficult, but you don't have to remember exactly the same position. It's more like a principle. When bishop and the knight is located like this, it can be very fragile because once it's gone, this square can be targeted, and your silver is here, so you can use this silver to annoy this bishop, but for now it's protected. So if there is a way to approach this knight and forcing it to go in the opposite direction, it can be successful. And this pawn push would be a good idea because if it takes it, then silver moves back to open this diagonal first. He has to defend, but then you can push this pawn to attack this square. Now these major pieces are very fragile, and possibly you can even enter the king when necessary. Even if he refuses to take it, for example like this, it's going to be good for you because you can just keep going. Silver moves back, then rook for 6 would be a good move. Next pawn promotion is great, so he has to defend, but then you can calmly move to the side. And white is now creating very stiff structures right here. Basically these pieces are dead, and what you're gonna do next would be to push this pawn to offer exchange, then silver can develop, and possibly you can jump this knight to focus on the central file. Whereas you have more options, white doesn't have so much options and very defensive, so it's going to be good for you. Alright, next one. It's going to be easier than the previous variation. When major pieces are facing each other, the one with their own intervening pieces will be in trouble if they play carelessly. and this is going to be a great example. Now it's black's turn. White just offered pawn exchange, and white plan is to exchange pawns and move back with the silver and jump the knight in the future to focus on this square on the edge, but it's not gonna happen. Like I said, bishops are facing each other, and once this knight is gone, white loses the bishop, right? And you can just take this pawn, and if he recaptures, and there is an excellent move, that is silver for 5. You can just sacrifice your silver in front of his knight, and like I said, if it's gone, you're gonna win the silver, and still you are attacking this silver as well. But if he cannot take this pawn, white's plan is falling apart because there is no progress. He just lost one pawn, so it's going to be good for you. Alright, this is going to be more frequent, and it looks like nothing serious is happening, but there is a good one for white. It's white's turn, and that is this pawn push. You need to realize this bishop is looking at this knight, right? And if this rook is gone, you can win the knight, and this pawn push is a great way to do so. He has to take it, then lance recapture. The lance will be taken, but you can just keep going, and if he recaptures, then bishop promotes, and you can possibly win this lance as well. This promotion looks scary, but it's okay because you can simply take the lance and you can drop the lance next to kill the dragon. And clearly your horse is working better because his dragon is kind of boxed, right? He has to move back, and horse moves back, and he has no pawns either, so it is clearly better for white. Okay, next one. White is launches ideal attack against Yagura, and this knight is working as a great assistant piece for this silver, giving it the ability to move forward. And if you accept this piece exchange, the knight is gonna come out and attack deeper into your camp, so it's very annoying. But when certain conditions are met, like this position, you can easily punish the poor structure, and you can just sacrifice your bishop. Since this silver is protected by the knight, it's a good idea to remove it. And if he recaptures, then you can win the silver, right? Even if you gave up the bishop, it is still good for you because you can create thickness around your king, and it's difficult for white to fight back with just one bishop in hand, and there is no effective way for white to keep going. Whereas you can drop your knight to fork these major pieces, or drop this silver somewhere in the future, so you have more options. Even if he keeps going, that's okay. You can win the rook, then you can just recapture. The material balance is even better than before. You can drop this rook somewhere to launch harsher attack, so it's still going to be good. Also, knight 4/4 is also great because this horse is looking at the gold, right? So piling up on this gold is also a good one. Alright, next one. This is going to be a great tactic against Anaguma. Usually, edge attack is regarded as the most effective way against Anaguma. You also have one another. And this pawn drop is going to be great. It looks like there is no point to do this because you are trapping your silver by yourself, right? And now the silver is dead. But you can just keep going, and either way, you're gonna gain a piece, right? And after this, look at this left position and how these major pieces are placed. Since they are positioned this way, you can drop the silver right here or here. There is more empty spaces in black's camp, so you have more options. So black is forced to play defensively, but either way, you can still keep going because you will be able to drop silver anyway, so you're going to be better. Alright, next one. It's always a good idea to think about this tactic when these three pieces are close together, because these major pieces are restricting their freedom, right? And one simple move can be crucial, and this is the one. What you are doing is to take either of these silvers. If he drops a pawn, you can sacrifice your rook, and you know what you're gonna do, right? This silver drop, and there is no way for this rook to go to. And even if you sacrifice your rook, it's going to be okay because your structure is very strong against piece drop, so that's okay. Even if he tries to save this silver, then you can take this silver instead, and the same thing is going to happen, right? And his king is even weaker than the previous position, so it's even better for you. Alright, next one. This is going to be the coolest position, and if you have static rook experience, and this might be the easiest one to find, and that is this pawn push. He has to take it and never take this back immediately. Instead, this succeeding pawn drop is great. If he takes it, you recapture. Obviously, next pawn drop is strong, so he has to defend, but then this move is cool. It's attacking this square, but this is the only way to protect it. But then you can drop a pawn right here to force this rook to move, then you can promote. You will be good to go. But all the way back to this position, even if he refuses to take it, it is still going to be good for you because you can win the pawn. He has to defend like that. Now you are forcing him to drop this pawn. Now his defense is concaved and his king cannot move forward, so it's kind of trapped. So this is good. Alright, this is the end. There is still so much to discover, but I showed you basic skills throughout this series, and by learning these techniques alone can get you to the next level. You will be able to come up with your own solutions based on these ideas accordingly. And I hope you love this video, and as always, thanks for watching.